in the room today. Very super good morning to Rupali, Shalini, Shami Kachru, Adish, Sonia Akutari, Nidhi. Woohoo! Mind is purposeful, pathways, looking gorgeous, darling. Thank you. Soni saying, I love you too, sweetheart. Vivek Vasanta saying, hi Pooja, happy morning. Happy morning, Vasanta. Physio Pilates, Dr. Apeksha. Super. Share your playlist. I just put mash up Bollywood and play whatever shows up on that day. The daughter of the Himalayas. Wow, I love your name. Hi Pooja, love your energy. You're setting the vibe for the day for me. How glad to hear that. Shri Devi Reddy 25. I love dancing now because of you, Soni saying, thank you, Soni. Yes, I love dancing and I want to spread dancing. I feel like people who dance are generally happier people than the rest of the world. Rashmi saying, just started watching your videos. Welcome to the tribe, Rashmi. So happy that you've started to, focus on your self-development. Always an amazing thing to do. Femi Fashions is asking, hi Pooja, I delivered my second baby. My mom doesn't take care of my baby and me. I feel irritated and devastated. No one to take care of me. Help me from this depression. Femi, one of the biggest mistakes we have made in understanding parents and their duties is that their duty actually is not duty after you can manage your own self. Which means what? Till a certain age, a parent has to look after the child because the child will not survive without them. After a certain age, they have to financially and emotionally provide for the children because for education and everything else. Now, there's a certain age where if you see in the animal kingdom, the child is supposed to take responsibility of their own life. Anything done by the parent after that is something they do out of choice and not out of the entitlement of the child. Okay, so when you're on your second baby, my sweetheart, as much as you would love for your mother to help you, it is not her duty to do so. Okay, and the minute you will understand that anything that you're getting is extra, this is your baby, you chose to have it. Okay, it's your job and your husband's job. He is the one you should be looking for support and help from because you are the parents of these children. Instead of looking at your mother and getting upset on why she's not helping you. She's done her duty, she's raised you. At no point is a parent making the promise that I will also raise my grandchildren or contribute there. Now, if they do, big plus. Good for you. You won the lottery of parents. And if they don't, you have to start to accept that this is not their role any which ways. So I feel like a lot of times we don't know, as children, there's so much entitlement in the world which is becoming a huge problem, Tell me one reason why she should be playing this role. Okay. Now, if she loves you and she can contribute to the level that she can, she's doing that. It may not be enough for you. You may want more, but she's trying her best to whatever level she wants to. But she's lived that life. Now she may want to do other things. Maybe she wants to go for satsangs. Maybe she wants to go out with her friends. Maybe she feels ke mera ho gaya bhai, maine apne bacche paal liye. So I want you to, Femi, create a new expectation. Okay, or a new level of understanding that to the level that she does, I will be grateful, and whatever she doesn't do, I will ask my partner for more help rather than my mom for more help. Okay, you need to move your energy to your spouse now. Got it? See how you can use this. It's never nice to hear these kind of things. It would be just so much easier if you just win the lottery of parenting. Can I tell you, I was 18 when I got married. I had my first baby at 20, second baby at 23. My mother used to live in Delhi. My mother-in-law used to live in London. So literally at some point, I do remember going at 23, I was raising 2 children, not knowing anything about how to raise the children. If I would have started to have all these expectations, it would have gotten crazy. Correct or no? Now, to the level that they could help, I was very grateful. But at the end of the day, they are my kids, right? So see if you can start to understand that concept. Not easy, I know. So God bless you, sending you loads of love. आज इतनी सुबह. Yes, actually, we run a program called Coaching Mastery, and Coaching Mastery December, January and February have been invited today at 10:30 for a beautiful program with me called Goddess by Design. So at 10:30 I have to run there, which is why I had to keep this at 9 to 10. So if you are a graduate of Coaching Mastery, and especially if you're a graduate of Coaching Mastery from December, Jan and Feb, make sure you're there at 10:30 today. What I'm going to be offering you is going to be mind-blowing. You're going to love it. So cute. Itni cute ho yaar. So sweet. Hi Deepti. So nice to see you here, sweetheart. Shivani, can't wait to see you again in person. I really hope it happens soon. Love it. Fabulous. Kajal is asking, Kajal Bansal, hi. Ma'am, when we have two paths in front of us and we are feeling confused about what to manifest or what to do at that time, what should we do? Please guide. Kajal, what I love doing is sitting in my meditation and asking God to help me choose. Okay? That's one way. Maybe God will give you the answer of what would be the better path for you. That's one way of choosing. Sometimes when I'm fully confused and I really don't even have a 51-49, I flip a coin. When the coin is in the air, I ask myself, which one is it? If I had to choose which one it should land as, which one am I feeling a little more inclined towards? Okay? And then if I'm able to get the answer when the coin is in the air, then that is the one I'll end up choosing. If I really still don't get an answer and it's an equal 50-50 for me, then I just love to, be guided by the coin or by the divine universe, right? So that's another way of doing it. Another way of doing it is to write out all the pros and cons of the entire situation on both your options, and then look at, are there any non-negotiables, which means sometimes something can have 15 advantages, but the one disadvantage it has. Okay, like I had a friend, she was looking for a partner in her life and everything was there in that partner, but he lived in a city which didn't have an airport and didn't have a railway station. So that was such a big non-negotiable for her that there was no way she was going to say yes to that boy. The other option that she had, he may not have had the as good list of pros, but his cons were also not too bad. So in average, she preferred the guy who at least had airport and railway station in the city. Now, these are not my choices. These were choices made by her. So you don't have to judge me for it. Just know that there are, like that, pros and cons is also another way of you making your decision. Now, I'll tell you the most important part of the decision. The most important part of the decision is not about making the right decision. Because remember, anytime that we are making a decision, we only have limited understanding with which we make the decision. It's only mostly after we make the decision do we come to know the entire picture, whether it is in a marriage or it is in a career or it is in a holiday or it is in anything in life. When you make a decision, you're making decision pretty much by only knowing 50-60% of the entire scenario. Now, when the balance 50-60% gets revealed to you, it is your duty to then take your decision and make it right, which is where our power lives. So whatever decision you make, more than the decision in itself, I want you to focus on how can I make the decision right afterwards. And that's where all of the, all of your power lives, and all of the fact that your success lives. A lot of people make decisions, but when they make the decision and they come to know the stuff that they did not know earlier, now they go into deep regret, now they go into quitting, now they go into believing that they've made the wrong decision. No, it's not a wrong decision. For example, I didn't get to go to college. I decided to get married. Because I got pregnant, I couldn't continue my college. I had to make a decision, do I want to keep the baby or do I want to go to college? I chose to keep the baby, but after I had the baby, I knew that now I have to make this decision right, that I've chosen to keep the baby. So I also wanted an education. So I went and educated myself in the topic that I love most, which is self-development and life coaching. Now I have zero regret about not going to college, correct? But what did I have to do? I had to turn my decision right. Otherwise, I would have lived the rest of my life regretting that I didn't get an education. True or not? So like that in life, we have things being thrown at us at all times. And we are trying to make the best. You know, they say when they throw a lemon at you, you should make lemonade. That's pretty much how we have to operate in life, sweetheart. So don't get too worked up with, I need to make the right decision, because can I tell you, 90% of married women will say this, that they thought they made the right decision, but within a month of marriage, they came to know, dusra wala better hota. And you know what? Then what they have to do? They have to make this decision right. So in life, a lot of times, we just have to make our decision right. Okay? Sparkling Soul Heals is asking, ma'am, please reply how not to be a people pleaser and turn into a confident housewife. So, Sparkling Souls, this is a beautiful, deep question actually, because I think it's very important to understand that in the world that we live, okay, wherever our financial dependence will be, whether it's the boss or it's the husband or it's the in-laws or it's the parents, there's a certain amount of exchange of energy that needs to happen for money to come in. Okay, so I do believe the one who becomes your provider should be ideally respected to a certain level, because they are your providers, right? So I feel like, of course, I don't want you to be a people pleaser. That will just drain your energy. But I also feel that there is this new narrative that is getting created in the world, which is, he has to give it to me because by law, I deserve the money because I am 50% of everything that he is. I'm hearing a lot of all of these things, and I really hope that that's not the energy that we as housewives, when I used to be one, carry in the world, because I think anyone who is providing for you, there has to be gratitude in that channel. And so doing for the people that matter, I think is a beautiful thing. My only thing is, don't do it as a have to, do it as a choose to. You know, I remember at one point in my life journey, I was speaking to my mom, and she said, Pooja, I've just decided that I'm going to make my husband in my head, like as if I was working, if I had a boss, what would be all the things I would do for him? So that he also feels loved and cared for, while I feel protected and provided for. And I think that's a beautiful barter. And you know, I just think that that's such a lovely way to think, because so some people, they'll be like, oh my God, that's so regressive. And you know, I am just saying that the exchange, you know, to think that you are entitled, somehow today that looks like the topic, you are entitled to the money that he must give you, but he is not entitled to receiving anything from you, not fair. Okay? So, I don't know in what context you had asked me this question, but a confident housewife is the one who does her duties well. A confident man is someone who protects and provides well. There are roles in the society that we have built. Now, when the housewife goes out to work, then the gender roles tend to crumble, because now both are bringing money to the table. Therefore, gender roles to be removed. But if someone is a housewife and someone is a provider, then actually the patriarchy used to work beautifully for this combination, because the alpha went out and worked really hard while the feminine built the house into a home, which I also think is beautiful. Okay, so you have to see what is the equation between you and the people that you're trying to please. And if you feel like, can I tell you, I run my house beautifully for a specific reason, because I want my husband to feel like, you know what, everything at home is managed. Whether it is the food or the cleaning or the towels in the bathroom or the powder or the batteries to be ordered for the remote control. I like systems, and I set systems so that everybody in my house, whether it's my children or my husband, they should all feel like if it matters to them, it will be provided for. Not कि जब मम्मी जाएगी ले आएगी, क्या बात है, 2 दिन अगर टूथपेस्ट किसी के साथ शेयर कर लोगे तो क्या हो जाएगा? No. Okay, so I just want you to see if you can create that thin line. Yes, of course, I don't want you to become a people pleaser, which means at some point that line becomes the line of being taken for granted. If you're feeling like you're being taken for granted, then of course setting boundaries is very important. But if it's not being taken for granted, but it's something that you'd like to do out of your own happiness and joy, because you know, that's the relationship you want to build in the home. You give, I give, we all give. When everybody is a giver, everybody benefits. Even one person, I live in a joint family, and I always say this, we are 7 adults in our house, not one person has come out to be a taker. Because nobody is a taker, the joint family system works so beautifully. एक भी इसमें से taker निकल आता, तो ये collapse हो जाता system, है ना? Swarna, today is my birthday. You're looking lovely as always. Oh, very, very happy birthday, Swarna. Rather, it's my dad's birthday also today, so I'll never forget your birthday again, Swarna. Wellness coach Kartika, good morning, Pooja, great energy. Sony saying, I am shy of launching myself on social media. Sony, you know what? Shyness is a luxury you can live in till the time you don't want to build a big business. True? So all of these things, I'm not disciplined, I'm not hardworking, I'm not consistent, I'm a procrastinator, I'm not this, I'm not that. You can enjoy the luxury if that's the journey you want to go on. But there comes a time in your life where you go, you know what? I have a lot of gap between who I want to be and who I am right now. And every year I'm going to keep shrinking this gap. I don't think anybody is born thinking that they're dying to put posts on social media. Okay, there must be some people, I'm sure, but majority of us have a very private energy where we don't want to be, exposing ourselves and getting judgment. Judgment is a very scary thing. However, once you know that you have a purpose, we are so easily consuming, but we are so scared of becoming creators. The creators of the world are becoming super rich. The consumers of the world are only wasting away their time. Move your entire energy from consumption to creation, and creating people are servers of the world. They are going to mint money going forward. Content creation is one of the biggest money making businesses of the world right now, true or not? So how long do you want to keep saying this? I'm so shy, I'm so this, I'm so that. For 3 years, I remember in my life, my teacher, when I had come back from America in 2012, okay, had told me that, Pooja, when you go back, make 30 reels and 30 videos in 30 days. I came back at that time, there used to be something called buffering on Facebook and all that. And I'm like, India mein who watches videos? If it's going to take 5 minutes to watch a 1 minute video, who's going to watch these videos? And I would be, someday it would be the pimple, someday it would be skin, someday it would be let me reduce my double chin, someday it used to be let me improve my communication, I should work on my English, I should work on my tonality. Every day I had a new reason why I didn't want to show up in the world. And I can tell you, I wasted 3-4 years till I saw people half as talented as me becoming more famous and richer than me. And I started to feel like, oh God, Pooja, are you sure you want to use all these silly excuses of कि जब मेरी double chin नहीं होगी और जब मेरा English better होगा और जब मेरा... Are you sure, or do you just want to serve? You think Mother Teresa woke up every morning and, said that, आज wrinkles ज़्यादा हैं, आज किसी की help नहीं करनी? No, right? So, see, Sony, this is not just for you, this is for everyone who's listening. You know what? Our monkey mind loves to stop us to get out of the comfort zone. But all of the success lives outside of the comfort zone, Meri Jaan. So, see how you can take baby steps, till one day people go, wow, Sony, kaise karti hai ye tu? Love it. Superb. All right. Oh, so sweet. Thank you. Bani0228 is asking, how to calm down if I'm not able to reach my goal or it's getting delayed? Bani, I have a policy about the universe which I keep speaking about, which is what you want, you should have complete clarity with God for. When you will get it, you have to leave it to the God and the universe to give it to you. I feel like we try to control what's not in our control, and that's what gets us all upset and worried. Okay? You're trying to put control over something that's not in your control. Your timelines can never be in your control. You just have to do. It's like, imagine a farmer, okay, and he plants a bamboo and he keeps digging it every 5th day because he's like, grow ही नहीं हो रहा, grow ही नहीं हो रहा, grow ही नहीं हो रहा. क्या होगा उस seed का? गया वो तो seed, correct? And then there is a farmer who sits in the faith of having planted the seed. He knows his work is to water it, make sure sunlight, make sure soil, make sure the environment for that goal is being served. And then he sits with patience and faith. These two qualities build you up to another level. That's what will remove all of your worry when you have a lot of faith and a lot of patience. And then he lets his plant grow into a bush into a mini tree into a big tree. And a day comes where he enjoys sitting under the shade of his tree, the apples he's enjoying, the fragrance of the flowers he's enjoying. And now he doesn't have to do anything. The work is already done. He only has to reap the rewards of what patience and faith he had put in right in the beginning. Okay, so Bani, one of the things we have to understand about goals is we do not get goals according to our timeline. You put a date and it can get 2 months, 3 months late. I remember my teacher Jack Canfield had put $1 million check by 31st March 1996 on the ceiling. So every morning when he used to wake up, the first thing he used to see is the $1 million check. So he says that he was about some $10,000 short of $1 million when he actually was the year ending 31st March of that particular year that he had put it. He says, I didn't say, oh, my goal didn't come. I was just so happy that I had made more money than I had ever made before in my entire life, right? So sometimes, Bani, we also have to keep in mind that some parts is getting completed, but because it's not completed to the level that we had expected, we pretty much scratch the whole goal. If I said I want to lose 10 kilos by this particular date and I land up losing 7, should I celebrate or should I get upset? When you celebrate, you manage to lose the other 3. He says that $10,000 came into his bank account within the week of the first week of April. That 3 will also go. So I feel like I want you to keep both in mind. One is faith and patience. And second, some parts will come and some parts may take a little longer. Get so grateful for the parts that are coming so that the rest can also come. Okay? Radhika, what to do when your husband's house is super toxic? When I raised my voice, I was slapped and thrown out of the home. Now society and all are pressurizing me to go back and forget everything. Radhika, the reason I do what I do, and what is it that I do? I want every woman on this planet, especially in India, to be financially independent. When you are financially independent, you have all the right to make your own choices. If you are not financially independent, the society will pressure you. If you're sitting in your parents' house and they pressure you to move to your in-laws' house, you are then only a football going from house to house. Okay, so I want you to spend the next 2 years, whether in your in-laws' toxic house or in your parents' house or wherever you are, building yourself financially. One of the reasons why I decided in my life that I wanted to be financially completely independent of every single person is because even a cow can feed a family of 4. We too are sitting with intelligence. What's wrong with us women for not being able to become financially independent? Why are we not being financially independent is my question. If you haven't considered coaching Meri Jaan Aaja, in 6 months, I'll get you ready to be able to start to make money. Within a few months after that, you should be making enough to be able to provide for yourself completely. Then at that point, either your in-laws will start to respect you for being who you are and your parents, or you will make your own decisions. Sometimes when we are not in a position to make our own decisions, people suit their agendas rather than care for us. Hetal, hello ma'am, how do you stop overthinking at all times? Because sometimes it's not necessary and still out of habit we do that. Hetal, what I love doing in my overthinking is I like to create the what if worst case scenario, what if best case scenario, and then see if I can visualize the best case scenario more than the worst case scenario. So automatically our mind loves doing the what if, okay? Now when we are in our mind, we cannot be in our body. Another beautiful thing to do in overthinking is just play some music and start dancing. Your overthinking will stop and your entire energy will move into your body. Now you can do movement, any sort of movement produces chemicals in our body that allows us to stop thinking. That's one way of handling overthinking. Another way of handling overthinking is your mind is giving you a what if scenario which is not suiting you at all, which is why what we call overthinking. Now I will try and, okay, so my monkey mind is telling me this is what will go wrong. Okay. My conscious mind, I will create a beautiful scenario. Okay. So let's say I've decided to take on a job. I'm giving you any random example. And my overthinking is saying, what if I'm not able to do? What if I fail? What if they chuck me out? What if they don't pay me my salary? What if they overuse me? What if I have to travel 2 hours to get to work? Whatever your junk is, right? So the monkey mind is doing all of that. I will create a separate scenario with my intelligence. And I always say we women are so good at using our intelligence for making it worse. Can we make it better instead? So what if I'm a champion at work? What if I turn superstar? What if they give me a promotion? What if they give me allowance for my conveyance? What if they give me, and I'll just create such a beautiful picture that the monkey mind will have no choice but to back off, because now my picture is I'm more passionately connected to the beautiful picture I've created than with the rubbish that my monkey mind was trying to do to control me. Okay, so see if you can start to, the more you can train your brain for the optimistic outcome in what if, the more your overthinking will have no control over you. Okay, so I literally sit down with a journal anytime I'm getting too worried, and I write down a list of all the good things that can also happen. So in my imagination only all the bad is happening. In my imagination only I'll make all the good things happen, and I'll counterbalance the rubbish that my brain loves to give me. Try it out, see if it works for you. Another thing you can do is make a list of things that are in your control and things that are not in your control. Things that are in your control, you can start to do right away. Things that are not in your control, you have to let them go. So write on a piece of paper all the things that are not in your control, and then just let it go. And say, you know what, this is not in my control. To God, I leave these 3 things. Because when we try to control the things that are not in our control, we die of worry. Hai na? Rema Menon want to know what to do if Gen Z is very lazy, but they are good in everything. Due to the laziness, he or she even apply for job. Want to know what to do if Gen Z is very lazy, but they are good in everything due to the laziness. Are they not applying for job, or are they applying for job? I've not been able to understand your question completely, Rema, but you know what? I don't know if I want to blame a whole generation. I like to look at individuals and speak to individuals. I feel like when we generalize, a certain community with a certain quality, we tend to start to then have bias. And biases are the reason why the world is suffering today. We have a bias against this religion, this community, this thing. So try your level best to not group people, because that creates biases in our mindset. Okay, having said that, coming to your question, if we haven't, see, there are 2 kinds of people on this planet. People who have a drive and people who have talent. Okay. Now, anytime a person comes together who has drive and talent, these are the successful people of the world. Some people have drive. They are very hardworking, but they just don't have the talent or the competency. Some people have a lot of talent, and we just expect that when you have a lot of talent, why would you waste it? Can I tell you more? So, number 1 is people who have talent and drive. That's the number 1 category of people. The number 2 category of people is not the talented. The number 2 is the hardworking. Hardworking people will always outbeat the talented people of the world. So category number 2, pray that if somebody doesn't have any talent, at least they should be hardworking. Like, I consider myself an extremely hardworking person. Okay. Now, I don't know if I had talent to do all of this or not. What I know is I was willing to put in more number of hours than anybody else. If you meet my brother, he's a super smart guy. If you meet my parents, they are super smart. Like, when I started this work, they were all surprised that I'm doing something in English, because my English in my house was made fun of. Till today, by the way. Okay, so what I knew was that I was very consistent and diligent about making a success long term. I was in no hurry. I just knew अगर मैं करते रहूंगी तो कहीं तो पहुंचूंगी. Okay, so I feel like drive and talented people, number 1 category of the world. Hardworking people, number 2 category of the world. Talented people, number 3 category of the world. You can have all the talent in the world. You do not have a hard work to back it up. That talent means nothing. It's like ideas. Some people think, oh my God, I had the most fabulous idea. Idea has no value in this world unless executed. You cannot give yourself credit for ideation. You have to give yourself credit for taking an idea and making it, into execution. Some people in this world are walking around giving too much importance to talent and idea. These are just entry gates. What is the meaning of entry gate? All of these are privileges. If you are good looking, you have a privilege. Okay? If you are rich, you have a privilege. If you are talented, you have a privilege. If you are having an idea, you have a privilege. Privileges opens doors. That's what privilege does. Any kind of privilege in the world, all of us will have our own set of privileges, something or the other. You came first in class, you have a privilege to get into a good college. You graduated from a good college, you have a privilege that the world will give you more chances to succeed. All of these are privileges, but they are not the deciding factors of life. You cannot make this person is so talented, therefore they will be successful. Not true. This person is so hardworking, therefore they will be successful. More chances. How many of you are able to understand the hierarchy of success? Yes? Okay, great. Oh, so sweet. Life coach Purva saying, ma'am, your energy is just wow. Thank you, Purva. That's so sweet of you. Mohini is asking, I suffered anxiety and depression because my partner literally forgot what he promised me after shifting to a rural place after living so long time in metro city. Mohini, one of the things that keep happening to us in life when we are not financially independent is that the person who controls our finances lands up making all of our decisions. You know, there was a time in my life many years ago that I realized that I wanted to make my own money, not because I'm money minded or I wanted more money. I wanted the freedom to be able to choose the life I want to live. And that freedom only comes with the economics of life. So you have to understand, imagine your life is a car. And imagine money is the fuel in the car. If someone else is putting the fuel, the direction of the car will get chosen by them. Whoever puts the fuel, the direction gets chosen by them. We can get as anxious, as sad, as depressed. But can I tell you, we've gone wrong in believing that our dreams are to be fulfilled by someone else. I think we've gone wrong in that. Our dreams were supposed to be fulfilled by us. We are responsible for our own dreams. If we chose not to become financially independent for whatever reason, then it is our job to honor the person who's looking after us. Okay? Or go get your own money. There was a time in my first 10 years of marriage where I used to keep fighting with Puneet. I want to go for this holiday. I want to stay in this hotel. I want this diamond. I want this watch. I want this ring. And he used to be like, from where am I going to get all of these luxury good items that you are making a list of? And I used to be like, what? If you love me, you can't even give me this much and you can't. And then at some point, I don't know what spiritual awakening I had, and I realized that my dreams are my dreams to fulfill. Why is he responsible? Why am I getting all upset and sad that someone else is not fulfilling my dreams? Like, at which point have we as sisterhood decided that the other people of the world have to fulfill our dreams, whether it's our parents, in-laws or husband? Why? Are you not a complete human being? Are you not able to earn your own money? Can you not work? Yes, if someone's not letting you work, then it is their job to fulfill your dreams. But if you can do it yourself, go do it yourself. And there's so much more dignity and respect in doing it yourself. Okay? Now, I wish someday that happens, where we used to live in a world where the man understood that the woman had the role of raising children and he had the role of protecting and providing, because women used to have a lot of children because protection was not understood really well. In the last 50 years, everything has changed. Women have 2, maximum 3 children these days. Majority. I'm taking the majority. Of course, some people have lots still, but majority have 2 or 3 children. When you were having 6, 7, 8 children, there's no way you could go out and also make money, correct? But today, we women are out of choice having our children, which means we have enough time in our life to be able to become financially independent. Maybe 10 years of your motherhood you can give to your baby, but after that, when your child is going to school, tuitions, classes, this and that, and you're still trying to put it as, no, I must be at home because of my children. No, I don't agree with you. I think let your children watch and have respect for you like the way they have for their father for being an independent, amazing woman. Why not? Hai na? Pooja, you're so encouraging to a different level. Thank you. So sweet of you, Pratima. Good to hear your enthusiasm. Thank you, Vanita. I'm just looking for the questions, so I'm just reading whatever has been written. Passionate Momita is asking, when we just wait for divine timing, people think we are not trying. When we try so much, then we get judged as we're trying to control everything. What to do? Momita, what other people think is their problem. It's not our business to worry about what other people think. You know your equation with God. Okay, you know your equation with universe, you know your equation with your work. Okay, whatever you need to do, what people think is not up to us, right? If somebody thinks a farmer is a lazy man because he's not growing his own crops, he's letting God grow his crops, they have no understanding of life. Life is seasonal, life is cyclical. There is seasons of life where you're supposed to put in all of the hard work. There are seasons of life when you're just supposed to sit back and watch the work unfold in front of your eyes. Okay, and if we overdo, so life works in growth, stability, that's how you move towards success. If you grow too fast, too much, you'll crash. If you stabilize and don't grow, you'll start to get bored with what you do. Both, it's a combination, seasonal, cyclical. Okay, so when you start to understand that I'm in my growth phase, you will see yourself taking on much more than what you can handle, because you are stretching your bandwidth to be able to handle a lot. Then comes a time where you need to stabilize and create systems and fix all that you've grown into, because you did all of that at a momentum speed. You know, the rocket, when it flies into the atmosphere or into the space, 90% of its entire fuel gets used up in the first 10% of its entire journey, and the balance 10% of its fuel gets used up in space. Okay, now that you understand that momentum energy is the growth, it can't go on too long. It's like a sprint. Then you do a sprint, now you have to do a marathon. Then you do a sprint and then set it up and do a marathon. When you start to understand life like that, when people see you in your marathon stage, they will think of you and suggest to you, why don't you sprint? I'll have people, when I'll be stabilizing, they'll be like, but Pooja, you can do a course on spirituality. But Pooja, you should do a course on relationships. Pooja, why don't you try parenting? Parenting, you're so good at that. They will give their suggestions from their angle. Now, when I start building courses, I'll have the opposite suggestions. They'll be like, Pooja, why don't you do one course properly? Why are you doing so many things? You're looking like you're scattered everywhere. What is your niche? What is your topic? Okay, what I've realized is whatever I do, I'll get opposite advice. Once you start to understand that in life, Momita, you become very comfortable with knowing your journey is yours only. Kaushalya, hi ma'am, my in-laws are brainwashing my husband. Before he was very nice to me, now he's not even talking to me. He's even made me stay in his in-laws' place. His mom is torturing me under his absence. What should I do? Kaushalya, one of the most important things as women, if I had to teach, okay, I would teach how to make your husband, your friend, closer than what he is to his parents by being nice to him and talking nice about his parents. Okay, now I'm not saying that they are nice people. I'm not saying that at all. But you know what I've seen? When we try to cut our husband from his family, the loss becomes ours because he starts hating us, because we're taking him away from what he's known all his life. Okay, so there is a whole art, okay, to be able to get your husband back. And the art will definitely contain you not speaking against your in-laws for a period of time. You will have to go 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, where you build friendship with your husband, where you support him to the level where he starts to feel like you are a value-adding partner. Okay, I don't know what's happening in your life and I don't know what's the situation, so I'm just giving you generic advice. But whenever someone comes to me saying my husband has gone off to his parents and he's no longer mine, my answer is always the same. You lost him because you interrupted rather than participated. Okay, now of course they are playing games. You have to learn to play games to match the games that they are playing. Their games can be nasty, your games need to be good. Okay, you have to start to give him that love and support. I remember telling my husband at one point, whenever your family asks you anything, you say yes and come. You say whatever you feel like saying. We will sort it out between us. No. If you want to do something with them, we'll do it with them. Later on, you can compensate me with a separate holiday, separate dinner, separate birthday, separate whatever I want. I'll take it from you. I'm not going anywhere. I'm yours only. And you build that union to a level where you start to go, you know what? And I remember at one point, my husband who then started to stand up for me, and I'm looking at it like, ye kab hua? Ye isliye hua because I stood up for him long enough for him to be able to trust me that I'm not here to take him away from anybody that he loves. And I feel like this should be a training given to, I feel like there has to be a mother-in-law orientation in the world right now, and I think there has to be a daughter-in-law orientation. Daughter-in-law orientation is more towards how to keep your man and keep him with his family. Do not cut him from his family. That's never going to serve you. And mother-in-law orientation, that you know what, you have to learn to love your child more than you hate your daughter-in-law. There has to be some kind of training around that. Okay, let me go right to the bottom. We are at 9:44. I'll take a few more questions and then we will wrap up by 10 o'clock. Okay. Niharika is asking, ma'am, how to manage a 2-year-old being a housewife and also working on my coaching career? Niharika, the more you schedule things into your life, the easier it will be. Okay, now remember, your 2-year-old needs you, right? And so who's going to be your number one priority on this journey till at least the child turns 5? It's going to be your child. This is something I tell every young mother. These years will not come back. You will miss them later on, right? You will be chasing them at some point. So till 5, I want you to prioritize your baby, which means when your baby goes to school, when he will start in another year or so to at least preschool, those are your working hours. When your baby sleeps, those are your working hours. When you wake up in the morning before your baby gets up, those are your working hours. So you have to be like the river that is flowing around this baby. Okay, whenever the baby needs you, you attend to the baby. Every time else you can create. And after a while, you'll start to see even babies have a schedule. They have a sleeping schedule, they have a eating schedule, they have a... Now, if you want to outsource some of the activities you do with the child, you can tell the dadi or the nani or the papa, ki, you know, these periods, if you can pitch in, or you can keep a nanny and then say, okay, these periods, I don't need to sit there when the baby is, I can do my sessions or I can do my classes. So the more you can organize your calendar. The problem with us is a lot of times when we are at work, we feel guilty towards the child. When we are with the child, we feel guilty towards not working. That's where we mess up. So this is what I don't want you to do. When you're with your baby, be fully with your baby. When you are at work, be fully at work. Work 1 hour less if required, but do it properly. And when you are with your baby, be as much as you can with the baby. Stop thinking about work at that point. Treat your entire coaching career as a long-term goal, a marathon, not a sprint. So this heavy duty deadlines that we put on ourselves artificially and then we only hammer ourselves is what drives us crazy. Okay, I want you to remove all the deadlines and put it on the dustbin and say, you know what, every day I will do something towards my coaching career. Every day, every day, every day, every day, every day, a day will come, Niharika, you will have your whole coaching career set. Rome was not built in a day. What I have created today was not built in a day. It was dedicated daily hours of working, okay? And that continuous working is what truly makes me or makes any successful person who they are. And I'm a big believer, as women, for us, we don't want empty victory. Empty victory is when you reach the pinnacle of your success and you realize you're all alone there because you forgot to carry all the people you love. You lost people in the process of making money. Money hates what would I say? Relatives. Okay. So what happens is money asks you to choose. Money asks you to choose between money and children, money and husband, money and family, money and, okay. So you have to always remain very careful that success is going to, or money or success, I'm interchanging those words. Money and success are going to demand you to go away from family. It's going to demand you to go away from the people you love most. They will come to you, but everybody else would have gone away by then. So very important is to make money here and use that money to serve the people you love most. When you keep the flow of money towards the people you love, when you keep your success in gratitude to the people who are supporting you and loving you, that success is a far more wholesome, enjoyable success than the success of making it all yourself and keeping it all for personal consumption. Okay, start to flow your money energy into your family. Always place family above success. Always place family above money. You do that, money and success will serve you. You put the family and success underneath and you put money and success above them, you will become a slave to your money and success. Then your only identity will be your success, and the day you lose money and success, you will not know who you are, because you never built the people that deserved to go on the journey with you. Okay? Alright, Sneha Kalra official is asking Pooja how to handle jealous cousin sisters and their dominating, accusing behavior. Sneha, one of the most important things that we have to learn in life is that when you do well in life, people will be jealous, and there's nothing we can do about it. So I'll teach you a mantra that I speak often about. Whenever anybody is jealous of me, I'll look up at God and say, God, send more. And people will be like, what? What did you just say? And I'll be like, you know what? The higher you are in the hierarchy of success, the more people are going to feel jealous of you. True or not? Now, I can pray to become ugly, fat, poor, and no one will ever be jealous of me. But do I want that? Because that's the only option if I want to remove jealousy from other people's eyes. So when people say, "Hi, nazar lag jayegi," I say, "Bhagwan, nazar to bhejo. नजर मैं संभाल लूंगी, आप सक्सेस भेजो. नजर को मैं संभाल लूंगी. क्या होएगा? जुकाम हो जाएगा, खांसी हो जाएगी, 2 रोटियां कम खा लूंगी एक दिन, कुछ नहीं होता, मैं मैनेज कर लूंगी. एंकल स्प्रेन हो जाएगा, आगे सूज जाएंगी, कुछ ना कुछ होगा ना. वो जो छोटा मोटा होते रहता है लाइफ में, एज इफ जब नजर नहीं लगती तो वो नहीं होता. तो वो मैं संभाल लूंगी. नजर की आप चिंता मत करो, आप बस मेरे सक्सेस में मेरा साथ दो. Okay, so I want you to develop a new relationship with jealousy. When you see people jealous of you, go into deep gratitude. Okay, thank God for putting you in a position where people are jealous of you and that you're not jealous of people. And then of course realize that, you know what, these game playing people, can I tell you, no successful person ever talks about people underneath them. Okay, but people who are underneath always talk about people above them. If people are talking about you, please know that means you have risen from the ordinariness of where they are. The most jealous are people where when you got to start together, but you rose bigger than the others. Okay, so anywhere, anytime in life you want to see jealousy, jealousy will be if you both were the same at one point. And guess who are our same for a lot of time in our life? Our cousins, our siblings. Siblings and cousins are on the same journey as us with the same opportunities, resources, lifestyle. A lot of it is similar, which is why when you become successful, they don't care about who else is successful, but your success. What do I say about success in siblings and cousins? So we'll be measuring heights. ये देखो, ये 13 की हो गई, ये 5'3" हो गई, तू 5'2" ही रह गई, तू छोटी रह गई, तू नाटी रह गई, तू मोटी रह गई, तू oh God, like you know our aunties in the family are brilliant at putting comparison again and again, and जो भी shine करेगा और सब तो उससे jealous होंगे. So I'm just guessing, Sneha, कि you are shining a lot. Can I tell you, start enjoy the shining rather than complaining about who's jealous. ठीक है? Oh, so sweet. I am totally awed by you for your clarity on so many aspects of life. So blessed to be in touch. Thank you, Anita. That's very, very sweet of you. Gunjan Bajaj 555 is asking, Pooja ma'am, how to get rid of procrastination and not be able to take action? Gunjan, one of the most beautiful concepts that I have learned on procrastination is by a lady called Mel Robbins, where she speaks about the 5-second rule. And she says, just count 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 backwards. And the more you can do that and get into action, the more faster you move into action, the lesser the chances of procrastination. One of the things I love doing is asking myself, how important is this to me? If I am procrastinating something that's important but it's not urgent, then I'm just being wise with my energy. Because it's not urgent yet, I can concentrate on the things that are urgent and move to what is important at a later point in my life. If I don't want to move to something that's important at a later point, I need to learn how to make something that's important urgent now. So what is the urgency? I'll tell you the kind of artificial urgencies that I create in my life. I create what I call my landmark birthdays. So my 40th birthday, my 45th birthday, my 50th birthday, my 55th birthday. These are all landmark birthdays by when I want to achieve a certain things in my life. So I work backwards every 5 years. So this is my 45th birthday in a month or so. And 45 to 50 is going to become the next segment. 40 to 45 was one segment where I will write out all my goals and roles and what I want to be able to achieve and all of that. And then I'll work backwards with that. The stronger your why, the lesser your procrastination. A lot of us have no reason to do things, but because of the should. We should go to the gym. We should lose weight. We should be healthy. We should be successful. Shoulds have no power. That if with shoulds we could all work, we would all be super rich and amazing. True or not? Which means the end conclusion of anybody becoming successful is the drive they have within. Now, if you don't have a drive, create a drive. I'll tell you how I create artificial drive. So last year at some point when I was making a lot of money, to me, it didn't matter how much money I'm making because I was making more money than I can spend. If you're making more money than what you can spend, how does it matter whether there's 5 lakhs extra in your bank account or 10 lakhs extra? Anyway, you're not spending it. You're spending those 2 lakhs only per month, right? So I stopped caring about how much I'm making because how does it matter? Then I decided actually that I'm going to go pick up something. So I picked up a property which I wanted to put on rent, and for that I had to make payments every month. So every month I needed a chunk of money, and I made my money matter to me because it had stopped mattering. Okay, so it's all by putting it or investing it into a building that will eventually give me money, and my thing became that, okay, nice, if I own a building, then my passive income will get built, and in my old age this can be helpful, or even for the children it can be helpful, or even to pay rent of whatever I take my office space will be helpful. And I created a situation where I made myself have to make money and be attached to it because of the payments I had to make. Got it? So a lot of times in life we are procrastinating because we don't really have a strong why. Ask yourself, if this doesn't happen, what will happen? And if the answer is weak, then please know that our brain is created in a manner that unless something turns urgent, we don't do it. We do not have that level of self-motivation and inspiration for us to do things because we should. That's expecting too much from yourself. My suggestion, create a stronger why. You'll see yourself starting to do things. What you couldn't do in 1 year, you could do in 1 day because exams came. The whole year you couldn't study that book, but the 1 day before the exam, you could study the whole book. What changed? Emergency came, urgency came, correct? The minute in life you will create urgency for your goals, you will start to achieve them. Otherwise, we are all procrastinators. You're not alone, Miri Jaan. Anybody who's telling you they are not procrastinators, our brain is functioned to sit in our comfort zone unless we have a reason greater than that to beat that and move into the uncomfortable zone. Why will anybody make themselves uncomfortable unless they have to? So it's a beautiful thing to examine in your life. Where have I become so comfortable? Okay, let's go right to the bottom just so that we have only 4 minutes. Let's quickly click our picture. Thank you so much for coming into my life, my angel. Thank you, my sweetheart, divine feminine awakening coach. Thank you. Gunjan is saying thank you. Rachna saying, hello ma'am, I truly agree with your concept of mutuality, but I can feel the pain of the housewives. So how can I make sure that I give them the confidence in the role that they are doing? Rachna, we as housewives should be very proud of the beautiful role of creating a home from a house. So if you want to really support them and you want to really help them, you have to help them that in the next 2 years, they can take any talent of theirs, from baking the cake to running the house to being purchase managers to whatever, and use that for the good of the world and make themselves meaningful enough to be able to make a little bit of amount of money. Okay, you don't want to help them with money, then make sure that they are in a position where they are married to a man who loves giving them money. Now you don't have a man who loves giving you money and you don't want to work. Those kind of women we can't help, Rachna. We can only give them safe space, sympathy, solace, what else can we give? But those are not real things. That's like if if a cancer patient comes to a doctor and he gives them Dolo 650, that's what you'll end up doing. You'll be just giving them Dolo 650, hai na? So we have to find real things. And trust me, if you're thinking you're feeling a lot of pain for housewives, everything that I do, everything is dedicated to that woman who's feeling stuck in her life right now. I have been there. I know the pain. I guess you've been there. You know the pain, and you know that's a severe pain when every night you have slept crying with your pillow wet without anybody having to hear it, because you don't want anybody even to hear it, because every night you're crying because you're feeling like you're leading a meaningless life where you're being taken for granted, where nobody cares, where your desires and dreams don't matter, and all you're supposed to do is serve and support everyone else but yourself. I know that pain, Meri Jaan. Okay? Alright. On that note, I am going to run now. We are close to closing. So, come on. Quickly take a picture. Put it in your stories. Put the highlight of what was your biggest aha today. What was your learning point today? What is that one thing that you're going to take away and use in your life? Okay? Let's do that. I love this. Such cute features Instagram has made. हो गया photoshoot, हो गया. Okay. On that note, I'm going to run, but thank you for coming. Bye. Love you so much. Take care. Have a great day, great week till I see you next week.